Hey folks, it's July 2014 and this is the overview for the month. There's 3 or 4 levels of complexity from an astrological perspective to July. In the very background, you've got the ongoing Uranus-Pluto square, the sextile of re-emerging from Pluto to Neptune, fortunately. And this is the big background picture. It's evolutionary, it's happening over a period of many, many years, and it's creating the urge for social change, individual responsibility, and greater accountability worldwide. In the more medium ground, there's 2 or 3 separate factors happening during March. Some of them are day by day, but 1 or 2 of them are actually quite big. And the big one that no other astrologer seems to be picking up on, to my surprise, is that in fact it is on the 18th, 19th, 20th, you've got Saturn standing still, stopping going backwards. And when he stands still, he stands at 16 degrees 38. And at the same time, within 24 hours, Uranus stands still, stopping going forward and starts going backwards. And that's going to be at 16 degrees 30. So Saturn's going to be in Scorpio, Uranus in Aries, and they're going to be 8 minutes of 1 degree apart from an exacting conjunction. An inconjunction is an itch you can't scratch, it's a niggle, it's a frustration. It's not worth putting the energy in to sort out, but it's still sore and raw. And when it's Saturn in Scorpio and Uranus in Aries, then there's no give. And these two are brushing up against each other like 2 bits of really hard diamond-crusted sandpaper. And there is a background energy of friction, irritation, frustration, impatience, and dull anger that is ongoing and will continue basically till the end of this month. Again, it's low-key, it's background, and most people aren't going to be affected by it, but some are. So if you're born in the very middle of Scorpio or the very middle of Aries, then just count to 10, okay? In the more foreground, the big picture is that the first 2 weeks of this month are actually relatively low-key, and in many ways, many people are recovering and mopping up from the events of the first 6 months of this year. The Grand Cross is essentially over, although the Sun is still hitting Uranus and Pluto in the first week of July, creating maybe a kind of encore of the Grand Cross. But it is, there's a new moon, a full moon, around about the 12th of this month, the 11th, 12th of this month, full moon in Capricorn at 20 degrees Capricorn, working excellently with Saturn and to a lesser extent squaring Uranus. So yeah, there can be quite a degree of friction between old bordered structures and the need for revolution and innovation around the 16th to the 20th. So if Ukraine is going to kick off, that's when it's going to be. Much more significantly, this month is when the tide changes. It all changes after the 16th as well. It's the second half of this month, not the first half. In the last half of this month, we've got, first of all, a new moon conjunct Jupiter in Leo. Nice, it sounds very nice. Yeah, it will be. It's going to be big, it's going to be optimistic, it's going to be bouncy, and a number of people are going to get in serious trouble with it. Reason being that new moon at 2-3 degrees of Leo is being strongly squared by Mars at 0 degrees of Scorpio. So anyone with stuff in the first 2 or 3 degrees, i.e. first 2 or 3 days of Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, you're going to know about it around the 26th. It is a very fortunate new moon. It's very optimistic, potential for overreaching and overstretching, and for sudden situations around the 26th, suddenly flaring and becoming much larger than life, and this is to be watched out for. Mercury is stopping going retrograde. It actually stops in a couple of hours from now and will move forward, and there's no problems here. The patterns of this month are much more low-key than of the last 6 months. It is a mop-up time primarily through to the middle of the month, and from the second half of the month onwards, there's going to be 1 or 2 major incisive surgical procedures to the body of the humanity that's going to create changes, but this is the final act, if you like, of the Grand Cross. And I truly believe from an astrological perspective, and I've been saying this since last November and will continue to say it, but from the end of July 2014 onwards, the vast majority of the challenges of this year are over for humanity. And 85 to 90% of the problems are done. So one last surge, and if you find yourself getting frustrated, irritable, impatient, especially around the third week of this month, then back off. Back off. Don't get involved. Don't mix it, because it will only radically escalate if you do. Far better to step back and say, tell you what, let's come back and talk about this at the start of August, where it'll all make much more sense. And that is the overall picture for most people. Wait until the start of August for common sense to return. Catch you later. Bye.